Hello everyone, hope you're having a good day. I'm Louise from Knowle Craft, and today I thought it'd be fun to just do something a little bit different and do like a little tutorial. So as I said at the start of the month, I was going to make a cushion out of that wool, that yellow wool fabric. So I've done it. This is it. So I'm really pleased with how it came out. I've done it a little bit different to how I planned, but I thought it'd be fun to show you how I did it. Because I wasn't concentrating, it didn't completely go to plan. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll already know this, but I wasn't concentrating and I didn't realise that the bobbin had run out. So I ended up sort of doing the seam, and then it hadn't actually sewn anything, or at least it had sewn a little bit at the top. And then I think the rest of the ways I had to unpick that little bit and redo that. And then once again, because I wasn't concentrating, I folded it wrong, and basically instead of the tassels being on the front here, they ended up being inside and sort of lining up about here. So, but again, just because I wasn't concentrating. So I just thought it'd be fun to show you how I did it. So if you want to follow along, it's a really easy, really quick tutorial. So no fastenings, literally just 2 hems and 2 seams. And if you want to add the embroidery, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. So really quick, simple and easy sewing project. So if you're using some fabric like mine where it's already a little bit chopped into, then just start off by squaring off the fabric and just sort of cutting off all those little straggly bits. I used some pinking scissors so that I didn't then have to overlap all the edges. Then just make sure that your fabric is ironed and that all the creases are sort of pressed out just as best as you can, really. Mine hadn't been stored very well, as you can see, so mine was pretty crumpled. And because I'm working with wool, I always like to put a little bit of fabric, just a scrap piece of cotton or something like that, over the top, just so that the iron doesn't stick to the wool and ruin the wool. I didn't measure at all with this cushion. I simply placed my cushion over the piece of fabric and just sort of cut down accordingly. The next step is to measure where you want your tassels to sit. So I measured it in 2 inches from each seam, and then the tassels themselves were about 3 inches apart. I then measured both 1 inch and 2 inches away from the edge of the cushion with my heat erasable pen, so that I could make sure that all the tassels sat in line with one another. The next step is to start stitching your tassels, so you'll need an embroidery hoop for this. For myself, I used my embroidery stand because it's quite big, and it meant that I wouldn't have to keep moving my hoop, but you can just use a normal embroidery hoop. As long as you can keep the tension in the fabric, that's the most important thing, really. And then you just need to start stitching the tassels, and I'll link a tutorial to the tassel stitch in the comments. And now we can start sewing. So first of all, we're going to sew the two shorter sides, and we're just going to hem them just so that they look nice and neat really. Initially I only did the one side because I didn't think I would need to do both, and I didn't think I wanted a seam to be shown underneath the tassels, but actually later on I decided to do both sides, and I'm glad that I did because it looked a lot neater, so I would definitely recommend that. So once you've hemmed the shorter sides, now we can go on to the seams. So we need to fold one half of the fabric over the other, but as you can see in the video, I made a mistake by folding the fabric so that the tassels were then on top. This meant that when I folded the cushion the right way round, the tassels were, as I said at the start, inside the cushion. So make sure that when you're folding the fabric, fold the tassel side down first and then the other half over the top. Finally, you can sew your seams together. Final step is to turn your cushion inside out and see how it looks. So I think mine definitely looked better on the outside than it did on the inside. The seams were definitely not neat, but no one's going to see that anyway. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone!